All right. Well, hello and welcome to week number 1 of Monday Night Fixed from Kentucky for Race First. This is Matt Houston, joined by Gary Gotso here in the booth. Hey, Gary, how's it going?
Super excited to be here and super excited to see the IndyCars, even though they're not in real life racing at Kentucky. They'll be racing at Kentucky. Kentucky was site of IndyCars for about 2000 to 2011, and they stopped coming back. Since then, they've redesigned the track, made it a little bit more of a, I guess you would call it, a little bit more of a technical superspeedway oval along the lines of New Texas. And speeds are considerably down from what we saw back in the IRL's heyday, but still, they're going to see some exciting racing here. And it's not one of those standard super speedway ovals where it's just flat foot down to the floor and turn left. You got to actually use some racecraft to get around the place.
Well, we are about 30 seconds from the end of qualifying. Currently, Robert Malechka at the provisional pole. That's going to probably stand at a 2:14.843.
At 24.4. Really flying around there, and right behind him is Andrano, right there with the 24.480. So really just razor thin, probably who got down to the apron faster for that complete lap. But Demerit and Francis, the whole front row, 24.4s or four drivers at 24.4 is really moving around this place.
Well, let's, speaking of that, let's get our grid here on us while we have time. Getting things going through, Gary. So starting tonight, flashed out, I don't have, might be having a slight problem with our grid. Do you have the speeds, Gary? Or the, you might just want to read through the grid if you don't mind.
Actually, I don't even have I'm showing Christopher Demerit on the
Yeah, that's
pole.
what I'm saying. Maybe use iRacing, look at that, and the speeds from that.
Sure.
Because I don't have it on my end. I'll see if I can maybe pull it up. But we'll be ready to go here in a couple minutes.
So yeah, so I guess see Robert with the 24.4 on the pole, Adriano, excuse me, with the 24.480 on row 1, row 2, Demerit and Francis, row 3, Demade and Nacho, row 4, High Song and Sid, row 5, Morera and our friend Musselman there, row 6, Shadid and Guillermo, row 7 is Carlos and Asan. Row 8 is Riggin and our good friend Geisler. I forget where we're at. Row 9 is Sousa and Baroni. Row 10 is Cristino and Mercer. Row 11 is Mickelson and Murray. And row 12 is Montaignes and Carl. They chose not to take any speeds, but from top to bottom, best qualifying was a 24.468. That is your pole. All the way down to Murray, who was the last to take time with a 24.9 flat.
Well, I appreciate you going through that one on your own there, Gary. But we're ticking down. We're waiting for all cars to grid. We're about 75 laps here tonight. What does that end up being? 100 and some miles?
Yeah, it's NASCAR actually measures the track right at 1.5. IndyCar actually measured it at 1.48. But if we go by because we're in a NASCAR world and we're just living in it, right? It's going to be 1.5. So we do the math because math is hard, and we get 112.5 miles for a race. Should go by pretty quick. Your first, actually, the window to get to the finish opens pretty early, about lap 24. You can get about 50 laps to a tank of fuel. And then after that, all you need to do is top it off and make that last 25. So if we go caution-free, the last stint should be really, really fast in terms of closing speeds in terms of being race speeds. Actually, one of the fastest IndyCar races ever was completed here back in the day with over a 200 mile per hour average speed. So even back in the day that they were cooking around here.
That's right. This is one of the quick tracks and one that we are certainly hoping IndyCar might return to one day. So here we go. iRacing pace car coming down. And we're going to be green here. Side by side they go.
Good jump by Robert. The draft's going to work here for a little bit until they get really to turns 3 and 4, and then they're going to have to make a decision. Do I go high? Do I go low?
So far, all cars cleanly through.
And there's that decision going to the low side. Actually, the higher side gets you a little bit momentum. Going to keep the high side there, Robert.
Inside.
Yep.
Robert's going to take control, though.
Right, cut right down to the yellow line, but you don't want to go below that yellow line. At least the yellow line kind of pops up a little bit. That kind of widens the apron for the pit out. But you don't want to drop below that yellow line in the tri-oval area because that is instant death.
So one car very high off of 4. I don't know if there was a wall contact on that one or not. Fast and furious here already.
Yeah, Demerit already purple with a 24.8. Cruising right along.
Just getting a little bit of feedback here, so 4 laps complete here side by side. We were thinking that this won't be quite the pack race, but maybe these first few laps could be.
Yeah, I think the first 4. Yeah, it's exactly right. I think the first handful of laps are going to be pack-ish, but nothing like you see at California or Michigan.
And so far, clearly through these 24 cars starting here tonight. No issues so far. And like you said, we're looking at about 50 laps on a stint. Earliest pit stop. I don't think anybody's going to duck on in the pits for green flag stops unless they have to, because they're going to go down a lap if that was the case. And Malekshka leads.
Yeah, strength of field's a 3.8K here, so these guys all better. With a strength of field like that, you all better be knowing how to drive this course.
Certainly they do. And you were talking about Gary, lap record speeds around here. Around, what did you say, 221 miles an hour?
221 set back in 2002 by Sarah Fisher. As I was saying to you in the pregame or the pre-race, this track has been very good to her.
Yes, it has. Ed Carpenter taking the last win in 2011 for IndyCar at this track, but driving for Sarah Fisher Racing that year.
Yeah. And that's before they kind of reconfigured the track kind of along the lines that Texas was reconfigured. They went ahead and lowered one of the corners or actually increased the corners, one of the corners to 17 versus 14, narrowed turns 1 and 2 a little bit. And that start-finish line is not exactly the middle of the front straight either. It's further down a little bit, so it's really going to promote whenever that car makes that move side by side when they're coming down to the checker, really to he needs a place. He really needs to work on it. Let's put it that way, because it's not the same spot as it would be on normal tracks.
Just swapping back and forth is Maleksha and Demerit. Robert leads that particular lap side by side, but then through the field, we've really kind of narrowed down to kind of single file from beyond.
Yeah, I figured it would go that way, especially with the way that turns 3 and 4 work. It's I was also hearing in the pre-race from some intel by some of the drivers that even going through 1 and 2, which normally you could do flat-footed, going through there in traffic is not as easy as it sounds. So I don't know, since the last time we've been here with Indy Fixed, maybe they changed the temperature a little bit. Maybe they've changed the setup a little bit to not allow the cars to do that. But I do like the fact that you cannot go through turns 1 and 2 flat out. You got to use some driver skill and some driver craft to get yourself through there. Otherwise, really the only corner that really takes any bit of skills, 3 and 4, and that's just kind of getting to the bottom.
As these tires start to go off over the course of this 50-lap run that they're going to be on, though, it's going to get more difficult for these drivers. the tires are still on the good side of the range at this point. And with these in-car tools that they have to use with the ARBs and the weight jacker, depending on what these drivers choose, they might...
Ooh, crossover by Robert there.
Yeah, I'm actually on board with Dakota at the moment, so we saw that on board from him back there, but let's go on up to the front between Demerit and Robert. Really, really close between these two drivers, just a few feet, half a car length at some points, and they seem to be able to, on a lot of these 1.5 milers, you don't want to touch that apron at start finish, but they seem to be able to hang up on there just fine.
Well, they better practice up on not hitting the apron, because next week when we go to the Nashville Superspeedway, it is death when you hit that apron there.
Yeah, I would, and that one's going to be very, very bumpy, right?
It's going to be bumpy.
Yeah.
It's going to be bumpy, and I really believe it's going to lack grip, and I believe it's going to be almost a one-groove racetrack. If someone can find a second groove there, you might want to send those bar and weight jacker settings to the Library of Congress and have it stored with the Constitution, because that is going to be a well-kept secret.
So coming up later tonight, a few of these drivers will be starting over in the Lionheart Series. That includes Dakota DeMade's going to be making his first start in the Lionheart Speedway Series, but we've got Jeff Hysong in 8th currently there as well. Ooh. AJ Musselman as well. Who were you seeing, Gary? Was there
a second? Demerit got a little friendly with that turn 4 wall, but he made it.
Looking through the field to see if we have any other drivers starting over in Lionheart.
So yeah, later tonight, make sure to check out the Lionheart Series on RaceSpark. It's a Speedway Series, the DW12s racing at Legacy Pocono. You'll be there. We'll have Dakota DeMade will be there. AJ Musselman will be there. Hysong will be there.
Our race
leader. Our leader, yeah, one of our leaders here. He'll be there as well. I was racing him last night in the warm-up races. Should be a fun time. Check it out at RaceSpot after you've watched this one.
That's right. Checking the nearer to the rear of the field, we've got Jeff Murray. Kind of running a livery that you might like there, Gary. Looks like a bit of a Menards IndyCar livery.
That is a classic Menards IndyCar livery. We're going back to the mid-90s for that one, thereabouts. But definitely Team Menard all over that one, and he's back in 24th. He's kind of struggling right now, but he's hanging on. Some of these guys in the back are kind of praying for that caution right about now, and it hasn't showed up. Some of these guys mid-pack might want to think about making that early pit stop, getting those new tires on, but right now the fall-off really isn't been there. The leader is currently 24.2, 24.7, 24.9, 24.7s. They're not that far off their pole speed, so the fall off on the tires has not been that drastic.
I do see, it looks like P3 and Pablo Diaz-Frances has dropped back a little bit from Demerit. And then we've kind of got a battle brewing between Nacho and Dakota back here for that 4th spot. Just about 0.3 of a second between these drivers.
A shout out to the Nikkei Racing guys.
Of course, that is Pablo Diaz-Frances.
Yeah. Our good friends Luis Gonzalez Nunez.
He'll be over there in the Lionheart Speedway later tonight as well. Sole entry representing them over in Lionheart at the moment.
Yeah, they got a good social media platform. Make sure to follow them.
OGG really having the Twitch followers over there.
OGG, Oscar Gonzalez, yes, and my favorite, of course, is LGN, Luis Gonzalez Nunez. Just so much easier to say it that way. It just comes out quicker, especially the way these cars are so fast.
Yeah. Well, I did notice that, and he's not even in the race, but we can talk about him a little bit. He did upgrade his computer recently, and he's got a really big, like widescreen monitor. He's upgraded recently, so I expect the results will follow. Looking back, Another driver back here. Guillermo getting around AJ. It looks like a battle here for about the 12th spot.
Yeah, I'm beginning to really wonder if that arrow push that they were talking about in turns 1 and 2 is really handcuffing about third on back right now, because they all seem to be about equidistance from each other, about a half second apart. Boom, 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 right there. No one's really seeming to gain on anybody. You can't make this a fuel mileage race, guys. So you kind of got to, at this point, maybe wonder that a yellow's got to save you. Or hopefully that the late in these run, these tires really, really fall off, and then maybe if you pit it early, maybe you can make up some time on the racetrack with a fresher set. But we'll see. Oh, and by the way, the pit road here, painfully slow. 45 miles an hour.
NASCAR pit lane speeds that we have to deal with as IndyCar drivers.
Like I said, it's a NASCAR world, and we're just living in it.
Still side by side back at the front of the field. Swapping leads back and forth is Robert and Demerit.
Yeah, no one really wanting to give any quarter right here, even though we're halfway, not quite halfway. We're at lap 28, so we are definitely halfway through the first stint, that's for sure.
Yeah.
No one's willing to kind of cooperate, maybe sit in the draft, try to break away, put a bigger dent on the guys behind them. They don't have a huge gap on P3. It's only about 2 seconds. So if any one of these guys should happen to have to check up or anything, it's going to fall right into the lap of Francis pretty much right away.
That's right. I think he's just kind of waiting for that to happen. They're like you said already, everybody's kind of waiting for that caution to come out. You don't want to do that green flag stop. You're going to go down at least a lap by doing so. Of course, you'll get that lap back when everybody else pits, but you're going to be at the back of the field, so nobody willing to take that gamble. Of course, they do have the introduced just this season 3 tire set
new rule,
limit.
Yes, new rule.
Yeah, they talked about doing that in the previous season, but finally getting that in here. I don't think it'll be unless maybe in the lower splits where there's a lot more caution, it could catch some people out. Certainly has caught me out before when I didn't remember to turn off a tire change when I was coming back in to top off my fuel. Been there, done that. So that I could see it catching out some drivers with the rule change this season.
I'm wondering how many people actually know of that new rule change. A lot of those that monitor top split, yeah, they pretty much know that. Those that kind of, I just got the game and I want to pop in and race an IndyCar race, they might not know that one. So that would be an interesting where they all of a sudden are out of tires and there's still 50 laps to go.
See, AJ did drop back another position. He's in 14th, and our good friend Thomas Geisler up to 11th position through this cycle. I think he's... Okay, so now we got the dynamics of the leader has changed. Demerit now has finally got out in front, and you actually heard that time Robert actually letting out of the throttle in turns 3 and 4 to stay off the wall. That cost him some space, and now Demerit has himself about a... third of a second lead over our pole sitter. That might be the move of the race right there. If we're coming up to, well, it's either that or it's going to be pit cycle. If we have green flag stops, we know that that pit lane can be really difficult.
Yeah, 45 miles per hour. Getting off the banking, especially with the hot tires. These guys are probably well versed into changing the brake bias so they can get down there without spinning the car. Bringing the car back up to speed on the apron can be a little tricky. It's been bumpy down there. Some people I've heard go really negative on the weight jacker to prevent the car to keep it as tight as possible down there and then kind of loosen it back up by the time you get to 3 and 4. That's one thing I've heard, but it would not surprise me, maybe not with this crew, but maybe in another lower split that you see cars trying to come up to speed and spinning off the pit road entry. Ooh, and Robert back almost into the wall again that time.
I saw that. We were on board with him at the time, so everybody else saw it too. Another thing that's I was going to mention, you were just talking about, Gary, is that the pit lane exit is really narrow at this track, but I don't think it's as narrow as the Legacy version, with that wall on the inside, and you're kind of coming.
No, yeah, the Legacy one keeps you. It's like putting a needle through an eye there, because you got that wall there, and it just we've seen so many people bounce off that wall before and then into the traffic and then collect a whole bunch of people going into turns 1 and 2 at Legacy. Here they widen it open a little bit, but it's still bumpy.
Yeah, it's still it is still difficult.
So you rode along with Robert there. Right now, as you see, just crossing the start-finish line. He just flipped up the 5th gear. He's going to be in 5th gear most of the way around, and he is still close enough where he can get the draft. Whether or not he's going to flip the 6 here by the time he gets to the end of the backstretch, I probably don't know. But right now what he's going to do, he's flipping down the 4th right now. Help bring that car down, help keep those revs up, make sure to get that good run off of 3 and 4. Then as he crosses the start-finish line, boom, right back up the 5th gear, and then it's right. So you, if you're watching this and you're like, hey, man, I'm a NASCAR guy, this can't be that hard. Hey, these IndyCar guys, they are constantly busy every single lap, more than just turning the wheel. But it's shifting gears, a weight jacker, roll bars, you name it. These guys are going to have their hands full through the course of this 75-lap race.
I saw Demerit get pretty high coming out of 4 as well there. And one thing I wanted to mention is that we are about 6 seconds, I'm talking about the leader's distance lap time-wise. And actually, Robert is catching up to Demerit. I wonder if he brushed the wall or something. He's really catching him there. But what I was going to say,
that you saw right there off his exit of 4, the back end wiggle, he is super loose. He is probably searching for a weight jacker setting that will help settle that car down. They are 10 laps from a pit stop, and these guys are dying for those new tires right now.
Yeah, this is where even through the field, I have to imagine their tires are even worse shape. In fact, we do have a car on pit lane. Mickelson is on pit lane, first taker. So he's going to go a lap down. He's praying that, I guess, an undercut could work here if we go green.
Yeah, and right now it's been green so far by this point. You would kind of gamble at this point, especially with them so spread out that there's not going to be a multi-car incident going on. I'm looking back right now. I mean, everyone pretty much has a pretty decent gap between themselves, so there's no really direct contact battles going on at the moment. Here comes Pablo. He is in currently. He's decided that he's going to come in at lap 43.
Okay, they're confident this thing's going green. So Melissa has taken the lead. I feel like either Demerit, he might have brushed the. Oh yeah, he's going around in turn 4. He has crashed.
And there's the caution. And you know what? Pablo is probably kicking himself right now because he was in an excellent position if this continued to go green.
He doesn't go a lap down. I think he did, though. I think he did.
Oh, he's got to be kicking himself right now because he was really in a prime time seat to make up some positions there. And we're hearing there's a lot of stuff coming off of turn 4, so I'm not sure what's going on here.
Let's get a replay of Demerit's incident there. This is not something you often see from one of our top drivers here in the iRacing Series.
Oh, and he collected another car down on the apron.
Was that Nacho, maybe?
Yeah, I think that was Nacho. And then Pablo did stop, but oh, man.
Yeah, it looks like he went a lap down. Oh, yeah, Nacho was just about to get by all of that. Oh, and then it took out, I think, for Porty, maybe. Yes, it was.
Well, the interesting thing is now that with everyone's going to stop. That's a fact right here. Pablo should be able to get his lap back.
Yes.
What he'll do, he'll get the wave around. So here in IndyCar racing, the rules are. And wow, he just got loose mid-corner and just comes around.
You're talking about
that's not a weight jacker. Yeah, I don't know. That's not even a weight jacker set. A weight jacker would be snap loose. Oh, we got 3 cars involved right there. Yeah. So a weight jacker loose off is going to be loose right at the exit. He came around in mid-corner. I don't know if he was tapping the brakes or something, or possibly had way too much on the rear anti-roll bar and virtually nothing on the front, because that was just a lazy spin mid-corner. And you're right, you do not see that very often.
Like I said before, though, I wonder if maybe he brushed the wall. Then you're trying to use all the tools available to you. Really, really big time weight jacker.
Yeah,
and maybe it just got away from him.
I think in that case, maybe stop. At that point, stop.
Well, you're hoping somebody else brings out the caution.
Yeah. You don't want to bring out the caution yourself, but at that point, yeah, you want to stop. So let me explain the wave around rules for IndyCar racing for anybody that's watching that's not familiar with it. The pace car always picks up the leader. So when the race resumes, it is always the leader taking the green flag and bringing the field up to speed out of corner number 4. Those that are not on the same lap as the leader, between the leader and the pace car, will get what we call the wave around. They're not a lucky dog. It's no gimmicks or anything. It's just simply a wave around to give the restart control back to the leader. Used to be back in the 80s, IndyCar racing would have some weird things that sometimes the lap traffic would actually bring the field back up to speed. And that didn't always work out so well, especially at fast places like Indianapolis and Michigan. So the wave around rule is somewhat relatively newish, certainly from the Indy Racing League days for sure.
Yeah, you can watch some of those old races, and you're like, they tell you who the leader is, but the leader's about 10 cars back, and you're like, what is going on? So, yeah, and they're having to weave through.
Why is Spike Gilhousen bringing this? Why is it?
Well, we've got race first affiliated drivers. We don't have race first drivers in official, but race first affiliated drivers in Dakota DeMade in up to P2, and Thomas Geisler P4. AJ
Great
Stack
stop.
Up to 10th. Yeah, heck, I mean, I think Dakota has taken advantage of Demerit's issue, and then obviously Diaz Francis will be, he pit. He was ahead of him, so that puts Dakota into that podium position. I'm sure he'd be happy if the race ended at this lap right now. I think.
Right, for sure. Well, and these guys are going to be good for the remainder of the race. So there is going to be. We're not going to worry about any of these. Run fuel map 5, and I'm going to squeak this thing out.
Yeah.
These guys are going to be good to go to the end. And I just want to shout out Thomas there in P4. I mean, that is a great stop. He has worked himself up 12 spots since the start of the race. Oscar Sid there in third spot has got himself up 5 spots, 6 spots for Shadhead, 8 spots for Riggin, and 9 spots for Mercer. And Jorge Montana's also 10 spots up. He's a little bit further in the back. But I guess we're going to watch Pablo, who is back there, who's going to want to get to the front as soon as possible and before these tires really start to wear themselves out. So they're coming up to green here. Right now, Robert.
Yeah, we're going.
Yeah, Robert is not taking that high line up against the defensive high line up against the wall, of course. Here in iRacing, you can only pass before the start-finish line on the right side. You cannot pass on the left side, as it is allowed in real IndyCar racing. Shame on you again, iRacing. But we'll see how he controls the field as he's bringing them down for the restart.
Pace car ducks in. And Robert's going to bring us back up to speed. Green flag.
Yeah, but he didn't get away because Dakota is right there with him. He's got a little bit of a gap, but Dakota's probably going to eat that back, certainly with 8 of the draft down the backstretch. We'll see if he narrows that gap up here by the time we get to turn 3. I want to take a watch for the battle for third as Thomas is all over the back end and he's looking down the downside really low, yes. Going to 3 or 4 to Sid there, yeah.
On board with Thomas.
Thomas, a German well-versed in oval racing.
Not something you can say every day.
No.
Like who's an IndyCar driver that's German? We can think Arndt Meyer. Lucas Luhr did a race or two for actually Sarah Fisher. But yeah, Arndemeyer was a kart driver in like what, 98 or something like that.
Yeah. The list of German oval racers is let's just say nice. It's pretty exclusive.
JJ's gonna love that I got to mention Arndemeyer during the broadcast. So
I would have been curious to see how well any one of the Schumachers would have done. I'm sure they would have done pretty good.
Yeah, I would say so. There was a slow car on the exit of the pits. Fraporti having an issue. It looks like he's slow on the pit lane or pit access lane. He's going to pull it to a stop. And
yeah, I think he was one of the ones included in that that little melee that happened right before the end. He is done. I think he went ahead and towed.
Yep. Yeah, that car is going to be kind of wicked after taking that contact. It might feel okay for a moment, but then it's just going to use up the tires in a very odd way that is just not friendly at all.
Yeah, Pablo up a couple spots already. He's up to 18th, so he's trying to... There, he's up another spot to 17th, so he is blasting his way back up to the front. He has just enough time. Will he have enough laps? We'll see.
He might need, well, you were talking about that 2011 Ed Carpenter win and some push-to-pass. He might wish that he had some of that push-to-pass button that they had in that era of IndyCar racing on the ovals.
Yeah, on the ovals, for those that are watching, are like, huh, push-to-pass? IndyCar had push-to-pass on ovals? They did. Right up until about 2011, they stopped with the push-to-pass on ovals, I believe, with the DW12, and of course, since then, it's pretty much exclusively something you see on road courses. But push-to-pass was I guess if you want to say it, a strategy / maybe a gimmick they used. I don't know. But they used it right up until the very new cars in 2012.
That's right. And, well, it might be coming again with the hybrid engines that are coming in 2023.
That'll be cool. That'll be cool. I'm all for that, yeah.
Not 100% sure how that will work because it's supposed to be kind of like a KERS type system, and that KERS type system basically gets battery power through braking, so I don't know how that would work with an oval, but...
Drag the brake somewhere. The brake. Yeah, we'll have to introduce all the NASCAR drivers like, yeah, they're gonna drag the brake now. Yeah, we don't drag the brakes very often. Let's take a look back at the leaders. Dakota is right there, about a third of a second right behind her leader. If you watch him coming through 3 and 4, Dakota up a full lane over Robert there. He's got clean air on the nose. He's able to maintain that momentum around the corner. But the thing is, Robert has a shorter line, and it's a faster line right now, and he's able to maintain that lead, although Dakota's got it down to about 2/10 now.
And we were discussing lap traffic coming up. That is no longer an issue, of course, because the field was reset, and maybe there's a chance by the end of the race they catch up to some lap cars up there in about P20, but we'll see. It's about, what, we got 22 laps to go here. Actually, is that right? I'm so bad at math.
Yeah, we're at lap 58.75, so yeah, still plenty of time for a lot of things to happen. Dakota just might want to ride it out and just kind of pick his spots and when he wants to make his move. I know sometimes these IndyCar races, especially with their distances, really do not encourage patience, but patience is definitely rewarded with these cars.
Looks like Jeff Heisong making a move inside to get around Alexander Ragone. Almost a slide job on him. Ragone comes back on the inside. This is a battle for the 6th position. Makes it even more difficult. So those leaders swapping earlier in the race, Demerit and Robert swapping the lead back and forth. That was a whole lot easier in clean air than anybody making a pass back through the field in dirty air.
It's interesting enough. This is one of my statistically, better tracks in all of iRacing. It's like this and Gateway. It's like a weird combination, but I did an official race here, and I did everything but win the Triple Crown or the Grand Slam. I won the pole, won the race, led all the laps, but I did not have the fastest lap because back in traffic, those guys were able to get a draft, and I was in clean air all the time, out front all the time, and I never had a single person to draft off of. So those guys back there, one of those guys is gonna have the fastest lap. And right now, that is Dakota 24.6. I wouldn't be surprised. Well, maybe not. I think with these tires kind of worn off, they might not be able to set any more fast lap times between back now and then. But they are certainly, if you look at some of the times crossing the start-finish line, they are faster than the leaders.
I could actually bring up the times, best laps of the race. 2:12.906 for Dakota. As you said, he was the fastest.
Yeah, and keep that in mind. 2:21 is the track record here in an IndyCar. Not even close with these new machines.
Yeah, we're running about I don't know what they're running on these ovals, because they run up to say 750 horsepower on.
They turn the boost down.
Yeah, they turn the boost down. They really control it. When these cars first came out, it was about 550 is what they were planning for Indianapolis, but I don't know if it was ever that low. I think that the car ended up being a little bit slower than they thought it was going to be, and they boosted it a little bit, and figured out a speed that was going to keep them above 220, and that's where it was.
I think a little bit of that was also optics, because when they brought out the 18 Aero kit, everyone was so happy that it kind of harkened back to the mid to late 90s IndyCar and how fast those were back in the days and everything. You put them on the track and you're like, that it? So I think there was a little bit of, well, can't you, is that all you could do type thing. It's hard to believe that the track record for Indianapolis is now 25 years old. I mean, it used to be reset yearly back when I was a kid.
Yeah.
The track record is older than some of the people actually watching this video. So that's you would think the new technology would bring on
older than most people watching this video.
You would think that these new cars would be faster, and that's just simply not the case. A lot of that has to do with safety, but also a lot of that has to do with the package that they put, under the cowling, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, it's all kind of designed to, provide the racing that they want to have. So, I mean, that is a good thing. We don't have to sit through as many boring races as we used to.
No more 8 cars finishing at Michigan type.
Yeah, you mean 8 cars rolling still at the end of the
rolling at Michigan in the mid 80s, right?
I had a comment in the chat. I want to bring this one up. They're saying that Robert is a lizard person, so I wanted to make sure that was on the broadcast.
Well, right now, the way he's leading, I'm welcoming my future overlords. But is it what kind of lizard? Is this like V? Is this like V lizards, or I don't know?
This is the second time in a race first broadcast in a month somebody has mentioned that TV show.
V?
Somebody mentioned that in one of my BMW races.
Okay, and we're not talking that night that ABC remake back in I forget when, but the 2000s. No, we're talking.
I had to go look it up because I
80s.
didn't even know what it was, but he kind of
V.
explained
Oh
it.
my gosh, V is great. I remember when the alien baby was born, and that was a talk of school the day after. That was awesome.
Well, we've got alien babies in the first week of Monday Night Indy Fix broadcast. Welcome to Race First Broadcast with Matt and Gary here. Bit of a different style than you guys might be used to here from the Race First crew, but we have our IndyCar knowledge here. We are total IndyCar fans here at the Race First. We're totally involved with that world.
5 to go here. And he's actually pulled away from Dakota a little bit.
Yeah, we had a slow car on the pit lane, a little bit of smoke coming up. I don't know if...
Yeah, I think we might have had a spin off of 4, and he caught it down pit lane. I think, I believe that was the case there.
Yep.
So next week, you could join us here next week when we do the inaugural IndyCar race, top split fixed IndyCar race at Nashville Superspeedway. You can only have one first-time winner. One of these guys will be a first-time winner at Nashville Superspeedway. And then we'll go later through the season. Eric will join us on Race First later in the week as we do the Formula Indy Series tomorrow. And then we're going to do some wacky jumpy trucks at Sonoma on Thursday, right?
Not this Wednesday, but the following.
The
Wednesday.
22nd. Yeah, I think it's the 22nd. So
That's
yeah,
right.
lots of coverage going on here. Race Burst plus your BMW series. Just keep it here.
Yep, BMW Thursday nights. We've got 2 laps to go here. Robert is looking okay. Oscar Sid got around Dakota back there for second spot. Thomas Geisler going to come through, possibly in the 4th position if he can keep it up. A really heck of a run there for both of those guys.
Yeah, Geisler definitely benefited from a great pit stop and is able to hold his position. So that's going to set him up for a great point start to the season. But right now, you finish first in the first race. You're the points leader after the first race.
Taking the win here at Kentucky. It's going to be the first race of the night there for Robert. Oscar Sid finishes second. Dakota DeMade finishes P3. Thomas Geisler P4. Trace Shadid P5. Rigon Isong Mercer Muscleman finishes 10th. And we will we'll have a couple interviews here. We might not have the race winner, but we'll have some other podium finishers, it appears. And we'll set that up and be right back for you guys out there. And everybody that's going to be watching this on the replay, I'm assuming as well. All right, we are back here. Let me set up our first interview. Oh, we've got Robert in here. I thought we might not get Robert. Hey, Robert, this is Matt and Gary in the booth. Got a copy?
What's up, boys?
Well, not much. You had the pole here. You had a good battle with Demerit through the beginning of this race. I don't know if he slightly brushed the wall or what, but you caught up with him. And but I guess, tell me about your race rather than me telling you about what we saw.
Yeah, well, first, welcome you guys. Thanks for announcing, hosting the hosting the broadcast. But yeah, me and Chris, we were running side by side. It seemed for 30 laps there. And we were both running it. It seemed super loose. We were both sliding sideways, and then I think he got me on the outside, and I think he tagged the wall off forward just barely. And Matt, just once you touch the wall, barely with these cars, they're broken basically. So it's unfortunate, what happened to him. Wish we could have finished it out. Had a great race up until then, but take the win.
Yeah, well, this is really good. Taking the first win in the strength of field here, taking that pole. This is your first race of the night, and later on tonight, I guess you're going to be over in Lionheart Speedway. This is just your warm-up, and we're going to wish you luck there. But any thank yous, shout-outs, friends watching, that kind of thing. One particular viewer did say that they think that you are a lizard. So any comments about that, or is that no comment?
I mean, I like lizards. I wouldn't say I am one, but I mean, science can change anything basically. So maybe I'll turn into one. But yeah, thanks to you guys for hosting. It's awesome to see the broadcast. And shout out Turn 4 Discord. And I'll see you in a few hours, Matt.
All right, we'll see you then. Congrats on the win here.
Congrats.
Yep, thanks, guys.
All right, we'll bring up Dakota. I thought he might have been the only podium guy we'd get, but hey, Dakota, this is Matt and Gary up in the booth. Got a copy?
Yep, I heard you loud and clear. How you guys doing?
Great. Well, tell us about your race. I have to imagine, this is strength of field, first race of the season, getting a podium on this. I know you probably wanted to finish second or first in this, but I think you have to be pretty thrilled for that podium.
Oh yeah, I'm happy with it. I'd considering I'm number 10 on this, I'd almost call it an upset, I guess. So I wanted second, but I mean, I couldn't handle the car at all, basically, and I set my ARBs a little bit too strong, and my tires, I couldn't get a handle of the car at all late in the run. So those last 15 laps were just kind of, bring it home,
Well, you did have the purple lap at a 24.6, so at least you can hang your hat on that one.
All right.
How was the aero push in turns 1 and 2? You said it was pretty bad pre-race. Were you able to work it out, or that's just one of the things that kind of held you back from kind of reeling in Robert there toward the end?
1 and 2 was fine. I was actually pulling in on Robert there, but 3 and 4, I just couldn't get up to him. I don't know. Robert and Christopher Demerit, I don't know how they battled. I guess they just know what they're doing and I don't. But yeah, this was pretty much a track position race, so I made sure to qualify well and just kind of stay up there. Yeah, got lucky with the pit cycle and there being a caution, and yeah.
Yeah, you got a pretty good view of that great battle at the beginning of the race, I'd say. And, one of the drivers, they paid the cost of that racing and some tires, I think, at that point. And that's not a mistake you generally see from a top-level driver like that. But great run here. That car is looking excellent. A very similar-looking livery will be running later tonight in your first Lionheart Speedway race. That's in the DW12, but tell us how you're feeling going into that.
That's right. Same as this, nervous as hell. So, making my Lionheart debut tonight, I'm going to try to put a good impression. Hopefully, same strategy, I guess. Try to qualify well and get good track position and hold my line there at Pocono. And I'll see Robert there too, so I'm sure I'll look at Robert's wing quite a bit as well.
The other thing I was going to mention is you might have seen some drivers running over that apron at the Tri-Oval here at Kentucky. Don't do that at Pocono. Don't ever go to the apron at Pocono. So, hey, any final shout-outs, thank yous, that kind of thing? Of course, you've been on the Race First broadcast a bunch, so you know the usual.
Yeah, shout out to you guys for doing this fixed broadcast. I think it's great for the community. And shout out to at Sunset Arctic Games. That's my company. I'm sponsoring myself. You guys can check me out on Twitter at Sunset Arctic. I got 2 products, one on Steam Voltic Pistol and one coming soon on Steam Echo Blade. 2 great games that you guys can go check out. It mean a lot to me. And Sunset Arctic Graphics, if you need any paints for any iRacing cars or league graphics, give me a shout out and I can help you out there.
Sounds good, Dakota. Well, good luck later tonight.
All right, thank you.
Yep. All right, we're going to get Thomas up in the booth here. Hey, Thomas, how's it going? Where'd you end up qualifying? Something like, what was it, Gary? 12th or 13th? I don't have the...
16th he started.
And finishing 3rd, I have to imagine you're pretty happy about that one, Thomas.
Yeah, hi, Matt. Hi, Gary. To be honest, I'm more than happy with P4. I didn't expect it. I didn't do a lot of practicing before the race. And as you said, qualifying was not too good. But it worked out pretty well, especially my pit stop.
I was about to say you had a hell of a pit stop. What was the deal there? Just everything just happened to fall right. The random number generator gave you the low number, and you hit your spots perfect and all that, or did you were you just actually because you were conserving further back in the field, you had less to fill up, or what really gave you that edge?
I was not conserving at all. I don't know what I did. I have to watch the replay how I did it. No, I just tried to be clean. And in the beginning, it was a bit of a struggle. I was struggling, especially in turn 3, going into 3, until I figured out the fast line for me. And then after the crash, I just did everything I could to be clean into the pits. And when I came out, I couldn't believe it. I was 4th. And yeah, from that on, I just tried to stay with the leaders, but I could not keep up. It was just not possible for me. But the race was great for me. I could keep the distance to the guy behind me, to Trace. It was, and I'm very happy.
Well, yeah,
it was
really,
a good race for me.
Great run, Thomas. It was really good seeing you moving through the field, and really heck of a run. Again, hey, any shout outs, thank yous, that kind of thing? Any friends, family watching? Maybe that guy that you mentioned that made you play some PUBG, maybe you'll send this video over to make him watch this.
Yeah, maybe I can. It's my nice colleague Nam Nam Vuis, he's called. I'm sending greetings to him now, and I want to thank, of course, Raceverse for letting me be part of the team, and for the broadcast here. It's very nice to have a broadcast now, and of course for all the fun times I have with the team since I'm in.
Sounds great.
So
well,
thank you.
We love having you, Thomas, and it was great seeing you get on the well, not quite the podium, but in the top 5. It's a really good run here. And hey, next week's at Nashville. We didn't ask anybody else about this, but do you have any thoughts going in there? Have you even driven the track before? Do you even own the track?
No, I don't own it. I just saw the real race, and oh wow, that will be
no. This will be a little bit different than that Nashville.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not going to be the street course. It's going to be the oval, but it's still going to be pretty rough out there for you. So,
yeah.
But yeah, we'll see you next week, and take care till then.
Yeah, thank you very much. See you then.
See ya.
Bye bye.
Well,
next week everyone is going to have an R hung next to their name for Nashville, because it's truly going to be one of those. I can't remember the last time. I mean, iRacing Superspeedway doesn't really count for a new oval making the schedule. It's going to be somewhat of a technical oval, I guess. I can't really think of, and I haven't been on the service.
You're right, Gary. I can't think of any new IndyCar oval that has entered the service, because everything on NASCAR, like, unless it was a rescan.
Yeah.
Like, a Texas update or something like that. But
so yeah, you've been a member longer than us, so maybe you might be able to remember. But I think for everybody, next week is going to be it's going to reintroduce the rookie stripes and hang an R next to their names, because I think it's going to be a learning session for everybody. But hey, we had a good race this week. 8 lead changes. We only had 1 caution for 4 laps. A strength of field of 38.77. So everybody here knew what they were doing. Race was done in a half hour, so they were quite moving along. There was no eye pacing. It should be high entertainment for everybody. I hope you liked it at home, and we hope to be here, or one of us, one way or another, all season long, bringing you Indy Fix top split action right to your home here on Raceverse, on the Raceverse channel on YouTube.
That's right. We still got to go through the final results, Gary, but you were just saying it though. We've got Indy Facts and Indy Fixed.
Yeah,
at the same
Indy
time.
Facts. That's right. That's right. We
get. So Robert's going to take the win there. First strength of field race of the season. Oscar Sid in second. Dakota DeMade P3. Thomas Geisler P4. Anybody that wants to join, the Race First Discord is posted in the forum. To correct me on any of these names, or Gary for that matter. Trace Shadid P5. Alexander Rigon P6. Jeff Highsong P7. Guillermo P8. Matthew Mercer, P9. AJ Muscleman, P10. We might have gotten an interview with AJ, but he didn't want to hang around apparently. But that's good. Good finish by AJ. Jorge Montanez in P11.
He started 23rd.
Well, good run by him. Cristiano
Benvenuto,
maybe.
Yeah.
Christian Asson, Pablo Diaz Francis. He got back up to P14. Jeff
Murray. But I that caution killed him,
yes,
and I can't imagine that he is really, really happy. No. he might be loading into that next race at 10:15. Yeah. He's like, I got to make that one up.
That's right. Well, Jeff Murray finishes P15, and I got to reset this. Sorry. I double-clicked the button. Brandon Carl, P16. Beto Sosa, 17th. Carlo de Anguiar in P18. I think Carlos ran over an ERL at some point in time with me. Marcio Baroni, P19. Alan Morera, he had some difficult issue there at the end in P20. Mickelson, P21. Adriano Frapporti involved in that incident with Demerit. Nacho, P24, and Demerit, P23rd is what I'm showing. Those cars going out on that lap.
Frapporti, it started off a nice night for him, and started off P2, and then to get collected early on that one is going to make a long season, even longer for him point-wise, to kind of try to recover from that. So I've been there, man. I feel your pain. Good thing it's a long season.
Well, that's it for us here tonight. We'll be back here, like Gary was saying during the broadcast. We'll have a Formula Indy Series tomorrow night on Tuesday. We have the BMW National Capital Chapter on Thursday. We'll be back here, though, for Nashville. Monday Night Indy Fixed all season, but next week Nashville. But thanks, Gary, for joining me for this and getting us going here in the booth. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And we'll catch everybody next week on Monday Night Indy Fixed.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Green rides on both sides, towering over me vast pines, to which Indians reserve the mind, closing right in front of me. Here is the deer, but as I closely peer, it's a trick that lifts my feet, left here to stay indefinitely. I'll be regretting this day. There is no way. There is no way to release my leg. There is no way. There is no
You're blind. Let's see how far you can make it before your head is chopped off.